Another Ants on a Rock video. Welcome to the Ant Corner.
Slight problem there. So, hello there, Ant fans, guys and girls. Welcome to this live episode. It might be a little bit iffy on the quality, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour around with some previously filmed footage of the Ant Corner. And then, if you're there, you can give me questions as we go around, and I'll answer them. And then you can just chuck in anything that you want to know, really. It just gives you the chance to ask questions about each colony live. So we'll start that in just a couple of minutes. As always, don't forget to drop a little like and a sub. That will do me a massive favour. Don't forget we've got the picnic corner tomorrow with ants and pets. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I've got some great questions lined up, and you can get on my Discord as well and send me further questions if you want to ask something, or just join in on the live and ask questions there and then. That also goes up on Spotify the day after, so by Monday that'll be on Spotify as a podcast for you to listen to as well if you don't have time to get on YouTube. So let's start with the little tour. I'll pause as we go. See if I can work out the technology. Here we go. So what we got here? So this is family intrusion. Sorry about that. So this is a colony of Mesobarbarus. Let's have a little look as we go. As it zooms in there, you can see. Actually, I need to refill that water tower. That reminds me. They come out at night and they just down their water. They just drink loads and loads and loads of water. Everything I put in gets drank. And then if you see right next to it, there's that little hole. They decided to just dig one tiny little hole. I don't know why, but it's there. You know, they just dug straight down, reached the bottom, and that was that. They stopped. That's I fed loads of the waxworms last night as well, so loads of them have waxworms in the outworld sections at the moment. Huge pile of seeds, as you can see. They've kind of scattered some about as they've been sorting through it. They've got 2 test tubes. One of them's completely dry. The new one I put in, I think they've moved in, but I'm not sure. I think there's still some of them in the old test tube as well. They have no interest in the nest at all. Like it's useless. Should we open that up? Yeah, that's a bit better. We can have a better view of it there. So yeah, they've got no interest in that nest. I might swap it out and see if they want to try a different nest, but they're quite happy in the test tubes for now. I've actually got loads of nests suitable for them, so it's not really an issue. You know, we can keep going with test tubes until they're in huge numbers. Let's keep going. I filmed this all earlier, so we just have to wait and see where it goes. I can't even remember what I filmed. So yeah, that's that one. Mesobarbarus. That's my blackhead Mesobarbarus colony. We go up. This is Myrmecoruba. One of my oldest colonies of Myrmecoruba. They had a massive die-off where they were just left with 3 workers and a queen, and I put them back into this tubs and tubes setup, and they seem to be coming back in numbers. They've got 2 test tubes in there strictly because the first one's dry, but as you can see, if we keep going, I think I'll zoom into it. They love their sugar water as well, and they've been destroying the protein, so they're doing really well. They're showing all the signs that they're going to do well. If we zoom in, there you go. Oh, just coming off. There we go. So the sand at the front there is on the test tube on the left. So the sand, like, they've blocked off the test tube that they're still using. You can see they haven't really blocked off the new test tube yet, which means they haven't fully moved in. They might have gone into it, but they're not living in it yet. They're still in their dry old test tube, which is typical for ants, really. Next to them, we've got my colony of redhead Mesobarbarus. Huge pile of seeds. I need to give that outworld a little clean. Need to give them some fresh water, whatever. Yeah. So they they filled this with seeds. This is like their little store area of seeds that they have going on. I'm not going to show you in the nest because I don't want to disturb them again. They've been disturbed a couple of times recently. Um, Behind them, we've got one of my multi-queen colonies of Lasius niger. They are kind of hibernating, but I've still seen them coming out to forage, so I haven't put them into hibernation. They're just in one of the slightly cooler areas of the ant corner, but they have a heating cable at the far end. This is, ooh, if we are going to zoom in, there we go. A little look there. That's my colony of Lasius flavus. Again, not in hibernation. We had workers. They kind of all died off. I think it was a temperature issue because I had it away from the heat cables and whatnot. It was in a slightly cooler area. I think that was the reason, anyways. But the queen was all that was left when I put them back into this test tube. So they're back in the test tube now in this tubs and tubes setup, which I've shown you in one of my past videos. It's probably my best tubs and tubes setup that I have. It's probably the best founding setup I have. It's done really well. It helped the imposters get to their stage where they are now, and quite frankly, it's a really good setup. So hopefully that will bring the Flavus Queen back from damnation. So let's keep going. I did put these little pauses in, but I don't really need them now. Typical. Right, so moving next to that, we've got my colony of Lasius niger. Now, I didn't put these into hibernation because I don't know the state of them right now. I've not seen much activity over the whole year, basically. They moved into there a long time ago. Basically, it was a tubs and tubes set up. Like they decided to move in because I made it bioactive. It had a drainage layer and stuff as a little experiment. They moved into the drainage layer straight away, basically. Slightly irritating. Whatever, I can deal with it. I put in the extra amount of sand so that they could move into that. I have no idea where the colonies actually live in, or if they're still living, if the queen's alive or anything. I've never seen them. I've never been able to look properly. But I do see the odd couple of workers come forage every now and then. So it is what it is, you know what I mean? We'll leave them there and we'll see how they go. We keep putting food in and just hope for the best. Moving on, I do have quite a few ants, so I had to pre-film this. There's no way my cameras would go around with the cables connected to the that's my ringtails and my colony of Mario worm, which is beetle things. So they're big beetles that actually grow in the multi-species tank next to me. They come out of there when the populations get too high. Like I say, I've got separate tanks ready to separate populations to manage the multi-species tank properly, because that's a very stable environment. Too many of any kind of insect would probably unstabilize that. So I keep the numbers under control, take them out and put them in the separate tanks. So this one holds my beetles. There's loads of beetles in there. I feed them on cucumber, waxworms, and fish flakes, and all sorts of bits and bobs. That's loads of cucumber in there at the minute, as you can see. I try and keep it in the darker area so you can't really see in there, but they like being in the dark. It just kind of helps breed those worms. After a couple of months, I take all the beetles out, chuck them into another box with some more substrate, leave these worms to keep eating and whatnot, keep feeding them. When they get big enough, I'll either freeze them or do whatever, put them in a separate pot, and they'll get fed to my colonies as well. Moving on from that, we go up. There we go. We got another colony on Lasius niger. I didn't want to hibernate these again because they're just in a fragile state. They're living where this tinfoil is. They have moved into the nest. They've got nests either side. As you can see here, they've got a nest, and on the other side, they've got a nest as well. But yeah, they're just not really doing a lot. I just wanted to, yeah, not doing it basically. Yeah. So I haven't hibernated them. Behind them, we got another multi-queen colony of Lasius niger. They're still coming out and foraging regularly. Sorry, the last ones were still foraging. But then, like I said, they're not doing amazingly well. They're living in this tiny thing, so I haven't hibernated. Haven't hibernated these. Another multi-queen colony, they're not acting like normal Lasius niger. They still come out and forage en masse. So, I mean, if you look now, I think I zoomed in. Yeah, yeah, they're still walking about now, like quite happily walking about. So they're not in hibernation mode at all, which is fine. You know, I can deal with that. In fact, I'm quite happy that not all my colonies went into hibernation. Probably, I don't know how many did. Quite a few did. Before we moved on. Quite a few went into hibernation, which means I've got less to show you and less going on, quite frankly. So this is my sticker insect enclosure. Not a lot to say about that. It's full of stick insects, Indian stick insects. I put loads of mosses in the other day, made it look all cool. This is my scorpion enclosure. As you might have seen in my recent video, I actually saw my scorpion. It was really cool. I've got the purple grow light on. That's why it's all purple. That's a massive log. It's kind of hard actually to see because of the purple. So we've got the massive log there, the stone to the side. There's a hide that has been used, but it's been refilled in under the stone. The same in front of the log there-ish. And then round the side is where I think the scorpion's actually living, down in there. But it's really hard to tell, and you don't really see the scorpion. Obviously, I fill up the water bowl regularly, and I chuck in food regularly, and I haven't seen any roaches like crawling about the next day. So I'm guessing it's coming out when I'm asleep. We got the heat pad at the back there. That's keeping it at a nice warm temperature. And quite frankly, it's an easy creature to care for. You know, there's been no issues. Just keep feeding it and whatnot. So we just moved over to the other side of the ant corner. We have Myrmica rubida. Oh, maybe, yeah, whatever, rubida. They're still active. I had a slight die off, but they seem to be doing all right. I think the die off is just the way it's going to be. They've been around for a few months, so it might just be their population's like end of life cycle. I expect there's quite a few still in the test tube. I'm not concerned about them really. I say that, but want to get something sorted for them soon, like a nest or something, because I don't like the fact they had that die off. There is something going on, but we'll change it as it goes. Here we've got Meranoplas bicolor. One of them there just sat there chilling. To be honest, as you can see from this footage, we had a really good look round on the tank, and there was none really about. They're all underground, which is quite normal for these. I filmed this in the morning. They tend to come out later in the day that I've found. They don't really do mornings, but it is slightly cooler in the outside area of the ant corner. And this is an open environment. So the outside temperature, the top of the outworld, what we're looking at now, would be slightly cooler in the morning than in the evening, whereas round the inside, like where they're tunneling, obviously has heat cables and all of that, so it stays at a constant nice warm temperature for them. So it's quite regular to not see them foraging early in the mornings, but later in the afternoons when it's had time to warm up during the day. So yeah, that's quite normal, but there's just the one sat there. It's not even doing a lot. It's just sat there, have a little move, but no, just sat there near the sugars. That's Meranoplas bicolor all over. They're so chilled, really easy species. They got a little sting, but they don't really use it unless you're being aggressive towards them. Going up now, we've got the imposters. The imposters are doing absolutely phenomenal. Anyone that knows the channel knows the imposters. They're like Lasius niger. They've outdone all my other colonies in speed of growth, even better than probably the Polybacus dives. They've got this large outworld attached to the T-shaped formicarium, couple of wax worms in there. They constantly have their sugars, constantly have waters, 2 towers of waters, because they just smash in one within a few hours, and I have to like keep alternating them. And yeah, they smash their water in. And as you can see, they're not hibernating either. They're still very active. Looking into the nest, they've still got larvae, pupae, and everything's developing and moving on. They are surrounded by heat cables and other stuff. They're like, there's a exotic colony, the Melanopus is beneath them, and you've got other things like this above them, and heat cables going on. So it's quite a warm area for Lasius niger to go into hibernation. So they haven't really hibernated, but that's absolutely fine. We've got my awful filming skills. Camponotus hercularis. They're going to need new test tubes soon. They will get a bit funky. But yeah, Camponotus hercularis. Ignore the massive stain of ant candy. I dropped the bottle like an hour or so before filming this, like when I had done the ant candy. What a nightmare. That was the Camponotus hercularis. Like I say, they're not ever doing a lot. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I've got them in the Wakushi Venus nest. I think they had a couple of eggs. I think they've eaten them again. But they just don't do anything. I've had them for like nearly a year. Just don't do anything. They're so hard to get started. Next, I got my colony of Best Ants UK, my Karuba. Absolutely smashing it. They're not hibernating. They're doing really well. They got loads of eggs, loads of larvae, if you can see on that video there. Doing really, really well. Always out foraging, always out eating. Yeah, they've got this small outworld attached to another small outworld, which is attached to the water test tube. And they're just constantly active, roaming about. Ignore that other test tube that's just below that one. You're not allowed to know what's in that one yet because we're not saying anything. There's new additions coming at some point, we'll say that. But yeah, this colony is always active, always doing really well. I'm going to expand it when they need it, which probably won't be too long. This is my European honeypots. Again, they're doing really well. I've had a couple have died, which they put in the corner there, but that's absolutely fine. And the whole time I've had them, probably good 8 months or so, they've not had any deaths until now. So that's completely fine and normal. In fact, I'm more than happy with that. And there it goes again. So we're just going to remove that one. So there you go. That is my little tour of the ant corner. And I'm just going to leave it there because no one's really asked any questions. But it's been really nice to just give this nice informal chat to you. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. A little bit different to normal, just because it's live. If you like it and you feel like I deserve it, feel free to give me a little thumbs up and maybe even a sub. And as always from me, I'll see you again, ant fans.